If you guys want to see the full review of the color device from Bigme, the HiBreak color, check the video card up above, because for the most part we're just going to go over the way it looks on the screen rather than anything else, because they're identical in the devices, and you'll see a comparison video in the future. So this is the black and white unit. You'll see that this is far more white than the color. We'll just bring that in just for a sec as to not spoil the comparison, but you see how much more gray the color version is than the white, but we'll save that for another day. So on the side you have a power button, volume up and down, and you have a SIM card slot. Yes, this does have a SIM card slot, and they have a whole bunch of information on their website as to what bands work. We'll put that up on the screen just really quick to show you guys, but for the most part you can head over to their website if you want to see what bands work in your region. You have a camera bump at the back with a flash package. The back has this kind of leather-esque appearance, although it is not leather, it's just simply plastic. You have USB-C and microphone at the bottom. Unfortunately, there's no speakers on this phone. Basically, the only speakers you get is this one, which is the earpiece. So when you're trying to listen to things, everything's going to come out of the earpiece there. So it's a little bit of a con in the world of what this offers, because I would have liked to see some sort of dedicated audio. It doesn't even have a headphone jack, so you live and die by the earpiece. So if you're getting a call and you're on a call and your call volume and your multimedia volume are different, one's going to be louder than the other, and you could get some pretty blaring notifications in your ears, so just keep that in mind. Let's boot it up and we'll check it out. This is going to be a rather short review because, again, we do have the full review that is completely in depth on this unit, and there's not going to be much to show outside of that because these are identical units to each other. So let's just go over a few things what it has. Now, looking at the unit itself, this is significantly nicer than the color version, and even with the glow light off, it looks premium. The color version looks a little bit diluted because, well, that's with the territory of running Kaleido, so it's always gonna try to create the absence of color, whereas this is just white, and it looks significantly whiter compared to than any color device would. So you have the floating ball. They've taken a page out of the book of Onyx for that one. You can move it around and you can open it up anywhere on the screen, and it has some quick key accesses. I like to throw it to the bottom right corner. We have browser, music, Bigme GPT. They're really pushing AI. A lot of Chinese companies really kind of promote AI on their units, like Hanvon and ereader and iFlyTech and VWoods for a certain degree. They really like ChatGPT. So what ChatGPT does is basically it will allow you to type anything in and you just say something like, hey, write me an essay, and it'll just write you a whole essay. So you can even do some drawings and stuff like that as well. You have basically everything on this unit you would ever need because you have Google Play. And the beauty about that is that if you don't have something on here, a scheduling app, a photo taking, a photo editor app, if you need Adobe PDF for any reason, you can get it on Google Play. So it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. So all this push for distraction-free units that are very simplistic kind of falls short because there's no validity to that. You don't have to use anything on here. In fact, you can long press things and you can uninstall them like Kindle. You don't need to use Kindle on here. You can simply just uninstall it and away it goes. So it's nice to have Google Play. The drop down at the top is very nice too. They give you a very heavy icon based look at everything, and it's column based as well, which I really like because typically manufacturers like traditional Android phones will give you a drop down like that, and it just basically is traditional Android. But this one mixes things up and kind of keeps you guessing in a way. There is a learning curve, and you have flashlight at the back, which is not that bright, but it gets the job done. You have location services, and of course if you go to settings, you do have mobile network. You can put SIM cards in. We showed it in the previous video, and at the beginning of the video we showed you the list of bands it works with, so don't worry about that. You have a ton of different things here that you can change your experience with, from sound. You have media, ring, notification. That's the ones I told you about. Be careful that they're all kind of coming from the same speaker pack, so careful with that. You have teen mode, which is basically children's mode. I'm not sure why they call it teen mode. It's to a certain degree you can scale things and limit access. You have custom key, which is really nice. This is borrowed from Hisense effectively, so you can single click, double click, and long press, and they will do different things. So if I want double click to go to back to the home screen, or single click, and I want long click to be multitask switcher or whatever, you can change it respectively by right there. You do have power manage, which allows you to throttle how much battery you use, power save mode, performance mode, etc. And of course at the top you have eink center. That's a learning curve. You wouldn't know that's it unless you knew what that was. And if you go custom, you have all this stuff here: anti-shake, auto clean. Anti-shake helps with videos. We'll show you some videos later on. And you have HD 256, Regal Fast, and Extreme mode. You also have contrast setting. It is system wide. You can see everything gets really bold. And you have full refresh frequency. You can set the refresh to 50 touches, or you can set the refresh to however many touches you want. So every 1 touch, every 2 touches, etc. And then that will change respectively like that. You also have more settings, and more settings is going to give you a bunch more things in the back end. And this is really nice because this is what you would be used to if you are an Android user. You can go to apps and notifications, and you can turn things off or on, or have certain priorities set for certain things. So it's really nice. You can swipe up from the bottom to go home. And yes, you can make calls on this, because unlike the Onyx Palma, this is an actual cell phone. This is a smartphone. You can make phone calls and text messages, and you can use mobile data, and you can hotspot your mobile data out to others. And as we said, it has location services. You can screen record, you can cast your screen, and of course you can use the camera, which is not too bad, honestly. It's not the best camera in the world, but it does default to extreme mode, and it's pretty quick, all things considered. No, it will not have any color like this pink ball here, but that doesn't mean the camera sensor is black and white. That's not the case. It is a color sensor. So if you take a picture of this, it is going to be a pink ball when you put it on a screen that can see color. It's just the only thing that can show your eyes what it is black and white, i.e. an e-paper screen. You also have OCR on there, which is borrowed from their devices like their e-notes, etc., that have document scanners, so that kind of just gets carried over. Honestly, outside of the screen, there's nothing that makes this difference from the color version. This one is just strictly the screen difference, and you just get an overall better PPI, you get better resolution in terms of real world applications and real world the way it appears, because when you see our comparison video, which we'll do at a later date, it's going to be blatantly obvious which one looks better. This one looks significantly better, but obviously there's not so elephant in the room, there's no color. So if you want color, you have to get the color one. If you don't care, you just get this one. If you're just looking for something that is easy on the eyes, that has mobile data, that has the ability to make calls along with everything else, this is the one you want. Finally, let's wrap up by showing some videos, and that's basically the game. To make this any sort of viewable, we're going to have to go back to the eink center, hit on custom, and what we're going to do is turn anti-shake on, and we're going to change our refresh mode to extreme. You don't have to, you can do fast, but still it's just better to have it as fast as humanly possible. And now we can see it and hear it with the volume full blast. It's not loud, don't worry. So when it comes to videos, it's great. It is absolutely great. It is excellent. Bigme is in the top 3 of refreshes when it comes to how fast it can be. There's zero gripes whatsoever with the video. It's awesome. Anti-shake is a good toggle to have to clean things up. You have full refresh frequency, you have multiple speed modes. What is terrible is the audio. And there's been some people that said, well, your color unit that you reviewed, it must have been a dud because it was very quiet. It's not quiet because, I mean, we're in this industry. We've had several of those units and this one, and we've seen and have returns and testing. It's not loud. It is a quiet phone. It is a very quiet phone that was full pop. There's no higher you can go, and there's nothing else you can do except use Bluetooth or USB-C audio if that's something you want to do, but there's no headphone jack and the speakers are pretty abysmal. So outside of that, this is a good unit. This is a cell phone and it is the only one in our industry, and we just want to stress that right now. There is no other device in the industry except this one. It's not an opinion. There's the Hisense, but that doesn't work in all regions, and it's 2 years old, upwards of 6 years old depending on the model you get. and they just don't keep up with today's standards, and they don't have Google Play out of the box. You can flash some and find some with Google Play elsewhere, but for the most part, this is the only one you can buy retail that is a phone. The Palm is not a phone, and anything else that you get, like the Light phone, which is now LCD, it's not even e-paper anymore, or the Docomo phone, they can't do anything. It's just a one-trick pony. All it does is calls. This does everything, absolutely everything, and it's not expensive. So how they did that is kind of it's nothing short of a miracle, because it's just amazing. But this is the black and white experience. It is the exact same as the color experience. You can see, as we said, in the video card, and you'll see at the end roll and description down below if you want additional information.